Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag live if you're watching live. Hashtag replay if you're on replay. So, this comes up a lot, and I'm going to tie two very important topics together and kind of show you how they all intertwine with each other. And if you've been watching my content for a while, you'll kind of see me go back and forth between the psychology aspect of life and fitness and just the aspect of, dissolving some of the things that hold us back, our self-limiting beliefs, trauma from the past, the constant wanting to go back in the past and letting it pull forward in the prediction of the future. And then you'll see me flip-flop into the nutritional aspect, the fitness aspect. The fact that they all are super important and are a contributor to how our bodies actually respond and get results is paramount. And it's one of the things I think that most people will miss when it comes to fitness results is that psychology aspect and who we are and who we want to be and who we have been, plus how we treat our bodies is super important. So today I thought I would go a little deeper dive into some physiology and anatomy and talk about the thyroid, because this comes up a lot. It comes up a lot because people have this belief that the thyroid or their thyroid is slow. Well, I just got a slow metabolism. I got a slow thyroid. And, honestly, there's a lot of people on thyroid medication, Synthroid being one of them. So I thought what I would do today is I'd go into factors that contribute to enhancing the thyroid and its health and overall optimization, and then factors that will take away. Now, I want to make sure that we understand I'm not a doctor. So I'm a doctor of love, baby. Woo. No, okay? Before I get some smart ass again asking me if I'm a doctor, I'm not a doctor, okay? But I do have a pretty good understanding of physiology, and I understand that the body is very complicated. There are lots of things that I don't know, but there are a few things that I do know. And one thing that I know is this: the thyroid does not act and operate in isolation. In fact, none of our body does. And to only look at one thing as a marker, whether it be in blood work or it be some kind of other biofeedback, to only look at that one thing is to really miss the entire big picture of the way this organ operates and the hormones that it secretes. So, let's kind of dive into this whole thing with it prefacing, I'm not a damn doctor, okay? So, let's just make sure that we all understand that. But, again, you don't have to be to understand how this whole thing works. So, I'm gonna really kind of take it down to its lowest common denominator so that we can all understand it, and that includes me because I needed it broken down for me to understand it. So, the thyroid. Where is the thyroid? Well, it's going to be right here, okay? And so, basically, the thyroid is going to secrete different hormones that are going to contribute to the maintenance of our metabolism. So, how we create it, or how we, are digesting food, and how the amount of calories that we burn every day, basal metabolic rate, so on and so forth, okay? In certain languages, thyroid is going to mean the word shield. So it acts as a shield for us. So if you can kind of look at it from that standpoint, maybe it makes a little bit more sense as why it's so important for us. Now, when it comes to hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, thyroiditis, etc., all these different somewhat autoimmune compromises, diseases, etc., they all kind of fall into this whole umbrella of being thyroid diseases because the metabolism and the thyroid are going to be compromised. Now, again, 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2 in this reality, okay? Because there are so many different factors, so many different other hormones that are going to contribute to whether our thyroid and our metabolism are operating optimally or not. So, here's the factors that will contribute to it operating at an optimal level. So, we've got the following micronutrients. This is super important. We're talking about our vitamins and our minerals. This is one of the reasons why it's so important to focus on unprocessed foods that are higher in these micronutrients that we need. If you're only focusing on macros, protein, fats, and carbs, you miss this entire whole picture. So, iron, vitamin E, iodine, okay, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, C, and D. Oh, and B6 as well. So these micronutrients here are going to contribute to how our thyroid and our metabolism are going to operate optimally. Now, zinc and selenium are super important because they are going to help us improve the function of T3 and T4. So if you've ever had blood panels drawn, you'll see the word TSH, you'll see maybe T3, okay? So in order for our thyroid to operate optimally, T3 has to have been translated into T4, okay? And we'll get into where this all means here in a second, okay? Now, here are the factors that don't contribute to an optimal thyroid, okay? That can be a thyroid disruptor, so to speak. Stress, duh, okay? Pretty much any interaction in the body that's going to be compromised, stress is going to be at the top of the list. With stress comes in the trauma aspect, whether that be physical trauma, whether it be mental trauma, whether it be childhood trauma, whatever kind of trauma it may be, okay, our body's not going to differentiate from it. It's all, you know, the way that our brain has now been repatterned because of said trauma. This is going to potentially cause us to have a compromised thyroid. Now, I think this is one of the things that's not looked at enough. You know, one of the things that I pride myself about being a coach is I want to understand where people have been. What are the experiences that they have experienced in the past that may be contributing to the behavior patterns that they have current day? Their self-limiting beliefs, how they believe in themselves, whether they believe in themselves at all, etc. Okay? So this is kind of how all this psychology aspect and all this fitness and nutrition can kind of be tied together because they're super important. Neither one is more important than the other. Toxins, you know, whether it be pesticides, mercury, etc. So again, going back to that unprocessed foods is super important to making sure that we're not getting a lot of pesticides in our diet. Those carcinogens, you know, they put Roundup on every damn thing these days. You know, you have to be aware of the things that you're putting in your body. And then autoimmune disease. Now, over here, I mentioned this zinc and selenium improving the function of T3 converting to T4. So this process is going to happen through the liver. So again, the thyroid is just not about operating in isolation. Because in order for our thyroid and metabolism to be operating optimally, this T3 has to be converted to T4 through the liver. So if we've got any compromise in the liver, this process, again, could be compromised. Now, here is some of the factors that will improve the sensitivity, okay, of the different thyroid contributions. So vitamin A. Okay, well, what are the foods that we could look to improve our vitamin A? Well, liver, ooh, that's a good one. Sweet potatoes, another good one. Spinach, carrots, okay, those are all high in vitamin A. So again, it isn't just about the macronutrients. You can count the macronutrients all day long, but if you're deficient in some of the vitamins and minerals that certain foods have, that you may be missing because you're only focusing on the fats, the carbs, and the proteins, again, you could be compromising your thyroid health. Exercise, again, no brainer. Hey, you know, exercise is just awesome as it relates to the sensitivity for anything, okay? Whether that be insulin sensitivity, whether it be, in this case, the TSH, the T3, T4, etc. And zinc. This, again, back to zinc. Zinc's over here is going to improve our function of T3 to T4, but also is going to increase our sensitivity. So where can you find zinc? Well, in meats, shellfish, legumes, nuts, and eggs. Big big supporter of zinc. Okay, now you'll see this right here, and I don't want to just completely overwhelm you with the physiological aspect of this because it's really not necessarily important, because in most cases, when we focus on the micronutrients, we lower our stress, we get to terms with our past, okay, we become more present, we can really help out a lot of factors in most cases. Now, there's going to be those people out there that have Hashimoto's, you're going to have Graves' disease, you're going to have hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, etc. Okay, there is that segment of the population, but for the most part, I believe that through our nutrition and through our lowering our stress levels, getting comfortable with our past, the acceptance, the acknowledgement, etc., all the things that we've talked about in previous videos, we can really help our thyroid health. Now, this reverse T3, this is almost like a parallel universe to T3. So when we've got the stress, we've got the toxins, we've got the infections, the trauma, okay, we're on low-calorie diets, on medications, certain medications, what will happen is our importance of this T3, okay, something will then, instead of getting into the cellular part of our body, which is important because it needs to go in there in order for it to be converted to the T4 on the other end of things, we'll have something called reverse T3, which will then get in front of and then get into the cell, which will thus lower the effectiveness of the thyroid because of our conversion to T4. That's very physiologically intensive. It's important for you to know that these are the things that possibly could be contributing to why the thyroid isn't necessarily acting optimally. It's not always about slow and fast. It's about its adaptability. That's super important because it's going to adapt to the conditions in which it is supplied. So therefore, if we're not getting enough of these vitamins and minerals in our diet, if we're not keeping our stress low, if we're not getting, being present in our nature, our thyroid is going to act accordingly. So if you can't lose weight and you're not losing weight, something for us to look at is how is this whole process operating in your life? Where are the factors where we can improve upon certain aspects for us to be able to then get our thyroid to act optimally to burn the fat that we truly want. So this was kind of like a brief overview and some heavy physiology, but I think it's worth investing some time into. And if this is a conversation that you'd love to have a conversation about, please just drop anything in the comment section or just direct message me directly, and we can hop on a coaching call, strategy call, discovery call, whatever we want to call it, and we can go through some of these factors and where we can improve you so that you can be the best version of yourself. So, #value if you found value in this video, and we'll see you on the other side. Woo!